is the Spartan Swinger, Brian Carlucci, a.k.a. Brian Danovich from the WWE's $1 Million Tough Enough Challenge. I was the guy that got hurt and still competed. Oh, you are listening to In Your Head Radio, the greatest radio internet talk show live.
All right, we are back. Welcome to In Your Head Wrestling Radio. And I am Jack, and I've returned.
He's back.
And my right-hand man?
1-inch biceps.
And right off the start here, we've got the guest on the show. We've got Dean Visk. Welcome.
That's right, baby. Thanks for having me, guys, man. Been a big fan of your show, listening to it. Thought, I'd check you guys out, man.
Excellent, yeah. Barbie apparently no-showed, so we won't have the British guy here tonight.
Oh, that's too bad, man. I love this comment. He's the cult of personality.
Right. He actually brought up once that he believed that your character in OVW is actually similar to me because you were like all hyped up on coffee. Caffeine,
baby, yeah. Hell yeah. I like my coffee. Love that character, man.
Yeah, I always
the cooler is me, man. That's who I was, man. It's who I am.
Mm-hmm. I got the cup of coffee right here.
Awesome.
And it's not flavored this week. Usually I've got like blueberry cobbler or something, but tonight it's just regular coffee. So if anyone wants to call in tonight, the number's 508-644-8503. We'll have Dean Visk on the first hour, probably a half hour, an hour, who knows how long we'll have him on here. And he's also known as Dean Jablonski. I was going to know, where did that name originate, Dean Jablonski?
Well, I'll tell you, brother. I started training with Les Thatcher's Heartland Wrestling. And Chet Jablonski and I decided to form a tag team. And us both being from Polish heritage, we just felt that the Jablonski name would live on in professional wrestling. And, we went on to do some awesome things here in the Midwest. Great gimmick. We should have been brought up to WWE or at least the developmental system way back in 2002, 2003. But, we just, for some reason didn't feel we were ready. And the day that we got down to OVW, him and I, we got signed around the same time, exactly the same time. We reported to OVW together. And we thought that we were going to be used as a tag team. And as a matter of fact, they used us as a tag team for quite some time. And then they pulled us into the office and Tommy Dreamer and a couple of office guys who, I don't know, might have been one of the writers. I don't even know who the guy was. And Lance Storm sat us down and said, Jablonski, it's too hard to say and it's too hard to spell. You're not going to be Jablonski anymore. And as a matter of fact, you guys aren't going to be a tag team anymore. And, Dean, you're going to go by your real name, Dean Visk, and, Chet, we're just going to call you Chet the Jet. And, he stayed Chet the Jet for quite some time until he, tried to put the Polish gimmick over, and I think it would have been an excellent gimmick, but it would have been something different. It would have been something that, you guys all know that, professional wrestling, there's really nothing new in professional wrestling. It's just, ideas. You create an idea and you make it your own and you put your own spin on it. And, for some reason, the writers, didn't want to go with the Polish gimmick, and, the rest is history.
Did you agree with it? Did you not? Did you like the last name, or do you agree it was too hard to say? Or what were your takes?
Well, man, we got a lot of heat with that name, bro. I mean, Jobbers. We also called ourselves the A Squad. We were one of the first teams to have a male cheerleader in our group, Pepper Parks. And, we thought it was a great gimmick. We got tons and tons and tons of heat with it. And I love the name myself. I can smell it. I can spell it. I'm not the, brightest person on the block. I can spell it.
We got a couple callers here, so let's get to them quick. We got Jai on the phone.
Hey.
All right. You got a question for Dean?
Yes. Do you think you're going to make it to the Hall of Fame?
I think I'm going to make it to the Hall of Fame. Let me tell you something, brother. I might make it to the Hall of Fame if things in the business change, man. I mean, the business right now is just, It's not what it used to be, and it's not what it should be. I mean, whether I make it to the Hall of Fame is irrelevant. There's a lot of guys out there, a lot of talented guys with tons and tons of charisma.
Don't you think that's the goal of every? Don't you think that's the goal of every? Don't you think that's the goal of every wrestler, though, to be in the Hall of Fame?
No, man. The goal of every wrestler is not to make it in the Hall of Fame, brother. The wrestling business is in your heart. The goal of every wrestler is to go out there and entertain the crowd and entertain them to the best of your ability. Get their asses off their seats, you know, so they're not standing on their hands. You know, you look down through history and you look at the guys that made money. The guys that made money had charisma. You know, nothing against, the guys in the business today that have the most respect, guys like Dean Malenko, Eddie Guerrero, God rest his soul, Fit Finley, all those guys. No disrespect to those guys, but if you look at the guys through history that drew money, aren't really reputed to be the best workers. You look at guys like Sid Vicious, Hulk Hogan, dare I say, the Ultimate Warrior. These guys drew money, mega money. But you know what? Their matches may not go down in history as, Randy Savage versus Ricky Steamboat. But these guys had charisma, and they could put asses in the seats because they were an anomaly. They were an attraction. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
Do you think you're going to make it to the WWE? Is that your goal?
Well, I've kind of seen what's at the end of the rainbow, and right now, I'm not seeing what I like. I've had a WWE contract. I was under developmental for over a year, and my character was going in the right direction, but unfortunately, because of some events that I'm sure we'll talk about here tonight, it just wasn't meant to be at this time. Not that it won't happen again in the future, possibly. I'm pursuing some other interests in my life. I do have a college education. I'm actually a registered nurse with a Bachelor of Science in Nursing with a specialty in child and adolescent psychiatry. And, so I have other options. I don't have to be a servant to the business if I don't want to be.
Can I ask about your gimmick?
Oh, which one?
Sure.
The one you wanted to use for WWE. What was it?
Dean the Cooler Visk. I was head of security for Bolin Services.
Okay. So, were you like a?
I am and was and always will be a jacked up freak. We talk about the wellness policy. I have been jacked. For a lot of years, continue to be jacked, and will pass a wellness policy test any day. As a matter of fact, I would tell Johnny Ace today, you know what, brother, take a hair sample and find out. Take a piece of hair from my ass crack. There's no steroids in my body, brother. So,
thanks for calling in, Jai.
Okay. Thank you for answering my question.
You're welcome.
Good luck.
Thank you, my friend.
Along those lines, though, do you think? Did you know right away, like you had to have, you had to have the right size to make in WWE? And you think sometimes
Absolutely,
people online,
man.
maybe not just fans online, but might not realize how important that is?
Absolutely, man. You gotta have a look, and it doesn't necessarily have to be a heavily muscled look. It just so happened that throughout my career, I was recognized for my physique. I was even told by WWE offices that part of the reason why I got hired was because of my look. But you don't necessarily have to be a big muscle guy. You can be, bring back guys like Vader. Bring back guys like One Man Gang. Bring back guys like Bam Bam Bigelow, Terry Gordy. Big guys that, when you're driving down the street and you look at the guy that's working at the gas station or the guy who's waiting tables on you, you could beat the piss out of that guy. So why are you going to put a guy that looks like that on TV?
Mm-hmm.
No disrespect to those guys. They have their place. They have their place in the cruiserweight division. There's some fantastic guys that can entertain you that are smaller in their own right, in a cruiserweight division or in an X division. But the WWE has now done away with their cruiserweight division. What are they thinking? They have some of the best cruiserweights in the world working for them right now. They got Jamie Noble. They got guys like, what's that?
Wang.
Oh, Jimmy Wang Yang, very good friend of mine. Probably the best cruiserweight on this planet right now. Jimmy Wang Yang can do things that no other wrestler can do, and they're not giving him the opportunity to do it. They're putting him in a squash match with Big Show. Come on. Well, who's writing this stuff?
Mm. Do you think WWE's always really never gave for the most part the cruiserweights like a genuine push? Like the actual division?
Well, no, I don't think they've given the cruiserweight division a push.
Mm-hmm.
I think that the cruiserweight division has its place and could definitely, semi-main event, could even main event, if you get the people behind them right. I mean, the bottom line is getting the people behind the characters, getting people behind the story, and they just have not given the cruiserweight division the chance that it deserves. I mean, they've given, Rey Mysterio a push through the roof,
mm-hmm.
but, they're doing the old David Goliath gimmick. Put Rey Mysterio versus Jimmy Wang Yang. Put, Rey Mysterio versus, some of the smaller guys. I mean, the tag team, Paul London and Spanky. Come on. I mean, there's some good matches waiting to happen right there.
When we had Jericho on, he mentioned that he thought the cruiserweight's it's bad to be labeled as a cruiserweight in wrestling. You think it'd be better not to even have its own division and just have those guys work with with the other wrestlers?
Yeah, I think that's okay to have them work with the other wrestlers, but develop a storyline amongst each other.
Mm-hmm.
Create some heat between the smaller guys, because then it's more believable. It's a lot more believable to create some heat with Jimmy Wang Yang and Jamie Noble than it is Jamie Noble and what's his name? Who's the guy on the motorcycle?
Oh, yeah.
Palumbo?
Yeah, Chuck Palumbo.
Yeah. I mean, draw some heat between the little guys. Jamie Noble versus Palumbo. As a fan, because we're all fans, even though we're in the business, we all started out as fans and we watch it as fans. It makes no sense. Palumbo punches him in the face one time and he's done. Good night.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
We'll go back a little bit. When you first, I think you were in Heartland Wrestling, and you talked a little bit Les Thatcher, I think. What are your thoughts on Les Thatcher?
Love him dearly. Mm-hmm. I love Les Thatcher dearly. Les Thatcher taught me the right way. He taught me how to respect the business. He taught me to kayfabe, and he taught me the right way. And it's no secret between him and I that I don't necessarily agree with him not putting some of his guys out there. We were under development. The Heartland Wrestling Association was a developmental territory. Mm-hmm. And Chet Jablonski and myself, Chad Collier, the other Matt Stryker, Pepper Parks, we were all in there. We were in the mix, with guys like Lash LaRue and Jamie Noble and Haku, the guy now who works as Relic. We were all in the mix together, and we were, some of the biggest independent shows that I worked on were when we were under development with WWE as the Heartland Wrestling Association. And when it came time to, give us an opportunity, to give us a contract, to throw us a bone so that you could develop us, so that we could become superstars, he really didn't put us out there. He didn't feel that we were ready.
Why do you think he didn't do that? Do you think he was just like the old school ways in him, that he'd wait till you thought you were ready for TV? Or?
Yeah, well, Les was a perfectionist. And, that's not a bad thing. It's a good thing to be a perfectionist because, we learned the right way from Les.
Mm-hmm.
But I think that it wasn't until we all decided, we need to kind of move away from here, go out on our own, and if Les isn't going to put us out there and isn't going to put his stamp of approval on us, then, darn it, we're going to go out there and we're going to bust our butts and we're going to work on every indie show, from the East Coast to the West Coast, and we're going to send tapes to the WWE, and we're going to call the WWE every day until we get dark matches to show them what we got. And that's what we had to do. And you look at guys like Nigel McGuinness, who was right there in the mix. Mm-hmm. You look at guys like Chet Jablonski, who was right there in the mix, Derek Knightkirk, myself, Dean Visk. We didn't get opportunities until later on in our career. I'm, in my early 30s now. Nigel McGuiness is in his early 30s, and we just are being put out there, and we should have been put out there, 5-6 years ago, back in 2002, when we were training with Les and we were working for the developmental system here in Cincinnati.
Mm-hmm. At the time, did you have any conflicts with him because he didn't put you out there?
No. I think I was too dumb. I was too stupid to have conflicts with him. It isn't until now that I'm kind of at a crossroads in my life and deciding whether or not to pursue my academic career as a nurse or to go back out on the road and reinvent myself in the independent circuits. I'm thinking to myself, wow, man, it was a long, hard road, trying to get the WWE developmental deal that I got. Mm-hmm. And thinking back, I'm thinking, wow, why didn't he send us to Puerto Rico? Why didn't, but I can't blame him. I can only blame myself for not knowing better. You don't know any better. You go to wrestling school. I graduated from college in 2000, and the day after I graduated from college, I packed up my stuff from Pittsburgh and moved here to Cincinnati to become a pro wrestler. And I thought, well, okay, I'll go there, I'll get trained right, and my trainer will give me opportunities and people will see me. Because we were being seen by, Dr. Tom Pritchard, who was, in charge of development back then and had some pull to hire us. We were there, in front of the office guys, and we just, were never given that opportunity. And
we got a caller here on the line. Who is this?
This is Ralph.
All right, Ralph, do you have a question?
I do. Dean Visk, what was it like your time in Ohio Valley Wrestling?
What was it like in Ohio Valley Wrestling?
That is what I asked.
Is that the question?
That's one of 3 questions.
Oh, what was the question? What was it like in Ohio Valley Wrestling?
Yes, that was the question.
I can't hear what he's saying.
Yeah, he just wants to know what was it like in Ohio Valley Wrestling.
That was one of many questions.
All right, well,
Ohio Valley Wrestling, when I was there, was a magic time, brother. And I still hang out with a lot of guys that are under contract. Great guys like Rory McAllister and Johnny Jeter, and mm-hmm. I had dinner with those guys not too long ago, and we were talking about what a great group of guys we had. We had, Matt Capitelli, Jeter, we had, Ken Anderson, who's Ken Kennedy right now, Bobby Lashley, Kenny Dykstra, who is Ken Doane. We had this group of great, amazing talent, and you know what? We all got along. We were all like brothers. There was no backstabbing. There was no locker room politics. It was, we all looked out for each other, and it was a great time in OVW. We were learning from Al Snow, and it was just amazing, man. We had Deuce and Domino. Matt Morgan was there. We had some great guys. We looked out for each other. It was awesome in OVW.
Do you think any of the guys after Cornette was gone from OVW, do you think some of the guys like WWE looked down upon because they were kind of like Cornette guys? Or give a fair chance to?
Honestly, yeah, because that's just kind of the mentality there, and it shouldn't be that way, man. It should be all business. You should put your egos aside. You should put what you have against this guy aside, and we should all make money together. Who cares who's Cornette's boy? Who cares, who's, Danny Davis's boy? Who cares who's, Tommy Dreamer's boy? Who cares, man? Let's just all make money. There should be no animosity because we're all trying to make money together. If somebody makes money, then I make it. And that's just the way that they should think, but they don't, man. And I do think that there was a little bit of that. Absolutely.
Was Kenny really a star maker?
What do I think of the star maker, Kenny Bolin? I think he's a great guy, man. Yeah, Kenny Bolin was really good to me, man.
Is this Kenny Bolin on the line?
What's that?
I was wondering if this was... Oh, okay. I was wondering if this was Kenny Bolin on the line.
What do you think? Is he really a star maker?
He's asking, do you think he's a star maker? Do you think that line is a shoot?
Well, if you think about who he's managed in his time and who got developed under him, who was working, I don't want to say under him, but nobody wants to be under Kenny Bolin, believe me. I've been to many buffets with him, but the guys that worked with Kenny Bolin, who was part of Kenny Bolin's faction, guys like Rico Constantine, John Cena, Randy Orton, great guys that went on to do great things in the WWE, worked very closely with Kenny Bolin. So, you tell me, is he a star maker? Is there something magic to being in his stable? I don't know, maybe.
What do you keep in your cooler?
What's that?
What do you keep in your cooler?
Well, brother, I'll tell you what. There's one man who knows, and his name is Kenny Dykstra, or Ken Dome. He knows what's in the cooler, and he knows what I mean when I'm saying that. Now, the cooler, brother, let me tell you about the cooler. The cooler is something that I have carried with me since I was in high school. I got into competitive bodybuilder at a very young age. I won my first bodybuilding show when I was 17 years old, and I have lived my life eating the proper foods, nourishing my body the proper way, and training the proper way in order to do that and not have to resort to performance-enhancing drugs and performance-enhancing things. I kept that cooler with me, and I made sure that I ate the proper food every 2 hours on the hour. And that's what the cooler's all about, bro.
It was amazing.
Anything else, Ralph?
No, thank you for your time, and I wish you the best of luck.
All right, thanks for calling in, Ralph.
Man, I appreciate it, my friend.
Let's get Brian here on the line.
Oh, hi.
How you doing?
This is Dean Visk?
Yep.
Yeah, I had a question. It's going to seem kind of silly, but has anyone ever told you or confused you with Brock Lesnar just from like an appearance standpoint?
Early in my career, yes. Actually, when I was being considered for hire by World Wrestling Entertainment, I was told to grow my hair out and to develop a more refined, tighter physique, because earlier in my career, I was told that I resembled Brock Lesnar too much.
Yeah. Okay, yeah, because I saw the picture, and when I was reading the text, I thought you were him, and no offense, I just got you mixed up. Sorry about that. But yeah, I was just curious if anybody got the confusion there, because you do look a little bit like him.
Is that ever a problem? Because sometimes you hear, like, they tell guys to cut their hair because they might look like Triple H, or if you look too similar to someone that's already there. Is that ever like a problem that you've seen?
Yeah, I definitely think there is. I mean, because they already had a Brock Lesnar. They already had somebody, that was Brock Lesnar, and they didn't want another one. They didn't want another lookalike. Although my character was a million miles away from Brock Lesnar's character, it was a good idea to change my look, and I really grew into my character and was getting a lot of good reports from my look and from my work for a long while there in OVW.
Mm-hmm. Anything else there, Brian?
No, but thank you very much. Thank you.
Thanks for calling in, man.
No problem. Thank you.
Just to let everybody know, earlier we had some people trying to call in with a blocked number. We said this on the show before. You can't call in with a blocked number, so unblock your number. We're not going to sell it to anybody. It'll be safe. But what was like when Heartland Wrestling, when it broke ties with WWE? What was like? Were you there? Were you still in Heartland when that happened?
Yeah. Well, Heartland Wrestling, was my home organization. Will always be my home organization. But yeah, it was a sad time, man. It was a sad time, but you know what? We moved on. we moved on, and we went on to do great things. Cody Hawk took over the books, and Cody Hawk is probably one of the best unrecognized talents out there. He knows his stuff, and he can teach you the right way. I mean, Cody Hawk is, a fantastic wrestler, and there's a guy that busted his ass in the business, had a look, had a gimmick, and again, just for whatever the reason is, the wrestling gods did not shine upon him yet, and he wasn't given the opportunities that I feel he should have been given.
When you first started to pursue a career in wrestling, was WCW and ECW still around, or was it just WWE?
Going to wrestling school was in my head when ECW was strong and when WCW was still around.
Mm-hmm.
I really got into the business around the time that ECW buckled and WCW had been bought by Vince, and I was training under Les around that time, and then really began working on a regular basis when the WCW guys were under developmental contract and came here to Heartland Wrestling.
Did that change your morale at all? When the other two big companies went away, it was if I don't make it to WWE, I can't now. There's no chance of going to a WCW or an ECW if they're not around.
Well, if I had $1 for the amount of times that I was told when I was pursuing, a WWE contract, oh man, if there was a WCW, or if there was an ECW, or if there was another place for you to go, you'd have a job right now. You wouldn't be, living out of your car and, eating, peanut butter and things like that if there was a WCW or if there was an ECW.
Mm-hmm.
WWE was the place to be, is still the place to be, and I feel will always be the place to be. WWE is the big time, man, and that's where every wrestler went. And, it's kind of okay, well, there's no other place to go. But if you really have a passion for this business and it's really in your heart, you don't think about settling. It's not like, having a safety school or a safety net. Every wrestler out there that's working on the independent shows right now wants to go to the WWE. Nobody says, well, I don't want to go to the WWE. I just want to wrestle in Europe, or I just want to wrestle in Japan, or I just want to wrestle, in Puerto Rico. Everybody, or they'd be lying if they don't want to go to WWE.
Now, you earlier mentioned Nigel McGuinness, and you worked with him earlier in your career.
Yeah.
Have you worked with him recently, and what do you think about him being a champion in Ring of Honor?
Oh, I think it's awesome. I think it's about time somebody recognized Nigel McGuinness. I worked with him on a show probably about a year ago. Him and I worked on a show together for War Wrestling in Lima, Ohio. And, man, Nigel McGuinness is a talent, and he's got charisma, and he can talk, and he can tell a story in the ring. You watch some wrestling matches, and, as a fan, you sit there and you're watching wrestling, and pretty soon you're yawning. You watch a Nigel McGuinness match, and that guy is cutting a promo with his wrestling moves. He's telling a story with his wrestling moves. Nigel McGuinness is probably one of the greatest workers working out there, and, thank goodness somebody has recognized him.
Did you have a question from the board, Inchman?
Yeah.
And have you ever thought of, sorry. I just wondered quick, have you ever thought of going to Ring of Honor yourself?
I haven't, only because that's not my style.
Mm-hmm.
I like being a character, and I like telling a story in a match, but the Ring of Honor style, that very quick catch-can style of wrestling, really isn't my style. I don't know that I would excel in Ring of Honor.
What was your question, Incher?
Okay, Piece of Dirt from our message board. He actually has a question about one of our favorites on the show. He wants to know, what are your thoughts on working with Larry Z? Larry
Zbyszko. Oh, man. The living legend. Oh, I got stories I can tell you, man. The living legend is an awesome guy, man. He, for a time there, a lot of people don't know, I spent a lot of time with Larry. I worked very closely with Larry here on a promotion in Cincinnati called Tri-W Wrestling, Worldwide Wrestling, and then later on worked with Larry for Shark Boys organization, BPW. Got a chance to spend some, one-on-one time with Larry and picking his brain about the business. Larry is the consummate professional. He will also give you the right advice and teach you right. Larry is a wonderful human being.
We've had him on the show several times. He actually has a book coming out, too, I believe, Larry Zbyszko.
Yeah, yes. If it's not already out, it's going to be out very soon, yeah.
Mm-hmm. Now, some people might think you can't learn something from somebody like him because maybe his style wouldn't work today, but is there anybody, did you learn a lot from him, or do you, anybody else like you'd watch tapes of, or anybody like that? Any, from the old generation?
Well, I'll tell you what, man, I think that Larry's style, Larry's formula worked then, and I think it would work today. I mean, if you watch some of Larry's promos, the man was a genius.
Oh, yeah, he's one of my favorites.
He got so much heat, and he did it right. And the reason why he's still wrestling today at his age is because he did it right. He didn't have to go out there and destroy his body to put a storyline over, to put a match over, to put, a gimmick over. And that's why, Larry's still working today. He didn't have to abuse his body. He did it right.
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely, I think it can work today. But as far as, watching tapes today, I watch the guys that were entertaining. I may offend some people out there, and I apologize if I do, but I don't watch Fit Finley matches. I don't watch Dean Malenko matches. I had a chance to spend some time with Eddie Guerrero when he was with the HWA. God rest his soul. Very awesome guy. Very nice guy. Taught us a lot about what was in the ring, but I don't watch the technical guys. Again, I watch the guys and see what the guys did to put asses in the seats.
Mm-hmm.
Guys like Sid Vicious, guys like Hulk Hogan, and I'm going to say it again, guys like the Ultimate Warrior. Their promos, the way they put things over, put asses in the seats. People wanted to buy tickets to see those guys, and they didn't care if they got in the ring, threw a few clotheslines, shook the ropes, did a test of strength, and got out of there and ran back. Every single fan in that building was on their feet.
Mm-hmm. And
that's what professional wrestling is about, being on your feet, getting into the match, and getting into the storyline.
Now, earlier we talked to you, before we went live here about, your grandmother passed away recently, and if she was a wrestling fan. What were some of the, was that how you got into wrestling?
Well, I actually got into wrestling, it was a family thing, man. Professional wrestling in the Visk household was, the thing. Saturdays in the Visk household, at 4 o'clock we watched AWA. At 5 o'clock we watched World Class Championship Wrestling with the Von Erichs. And at 6:05, baby, it was tuned into WTBS, and we were watching the National Wrestling Alliance, the Major League of Professional Wrestling.
Mm-hmm.
And of course, we watched, Saturday night's main event, and we watched WWE. But we were big wrestling fans, man. Saturday was an event, brother. Pizza, soda pop, and pro wrestling on Saturday night.
Who were some of the people that you enjoyed to watch?
I was a big Rock and Roll Express mark, Ricky Morton and Robert Gibson, when I was real young. And then as I, got older into, high school, I, loved, guys like the Ultimate Warrior and, Psycho Sid and Hulk Hogan. I liked the big guys, man. I even, liked, Van Vader. I liked big, monstrous guys that could, pummel you and looked monstrous. Lex Luger, Sting, guys like that.
Mm-hmm. I just saw Sid. He just made a comeback for the NWA. I saw him last week at Twin Casino. He was actually looking really good.
Yeah, man. And a guy like that, bring him to WrestleMania, put him up against Triple H.
Mm-hmm.
That's going to sell tickets. That's going to sell tickets.
It's so much. You don't even have to do much storyline there. It's so much history with such big names, Sid Vicious, and they own the footage of his leg being broken. You just show that.
Yeah.
So it's just a built-in story right there.
Mm-hmm.
He'd be the ultimate.
Absolutely.
One of the best
money.
comebacks.
That has money written all over it.
Mm-hmm. Do you have something else from the board, Intra?
Actually, Buck from the chat room, he wants to know about the Kurt Angle challenge that you participated in.
Yeah. Oh, that was a great time in my career. That was actually when WWE was looking at me. They sent me to OVW for a few days, and then for a tryout, and then very shortly after my time in OVW, I was asked to do some dark matches for WWE, and I had done a show in Dayton, Ohio, and I had known Kurt Angle personally growing up in Pittsburgh. He trained at the whole family did. Eric and Johnny, great guys. I can't say enough about the Angle family. They have been wonderful to me. Johnny Angle, Kurt Angle's brother, actually taught me how to eat properly to gain muscles. And, seeing him again was fantastic. And when the agents told me, actually the agent was, actually I think it was Fit. It was Fit and Dean who told me that I'd be doing the Angle Challenge. Since I was from the area, I was a local boy, and, I had the opportunity to wrestle Kurt, and it was wonderful, man. He's great to work with.
Just real quick, I remember Kurt Angle actually said something similar to what you were saying earlier about watching stuff of the Warrior, of Hogan, someone who drew money. He said he would watch tapes of anybody who made it in the business because you could learn something from those guys. And he even brought up Superstar Billy Graham, and people think, well, that's not like a Kurt Angle style guy, but he was just saying, anybody that made it in wrestling, there was a reason why they did it, and you can learn something from them.
Exactly, and we have to remember, this is professional wrestling. The cat's been out of the bag for how many years now, but you can still suspend people's disbelief if you put these larger-than-life characters in the ring with their larger-than-life personalities. You put them in the ring, you let them do their thing, no matter what it is. They go in there, they beat the hell out of each other. That's money. You don't have to flip around and do a moonsault off the top rope and do all this crazy stuff. You get in there and you work. You work a match, you make it mean something, you make those bumps mean something. Nowadays, you turn on Raw, and, if you do see a match, if it's not all, promos, you look and you can't digest what's going on. It's happening so freaking fast.
Mm-hmm.
You gotta build. You gotta give a bump for a reason, and it's gotta hurt. You can't hit a guy over the head with a freaking sledgehammer and expect him to be, on the pay-per-view on Sunday.
Right. Yeah, I know. Ole Anderson is always he's not big on the sledgehammer shot. He always said if a guy's hitting a guy with a sledgehammer, he's coming back. I mean, what does that say about you? You must
exactly. Exactly. What does it say about you, and what does it say about the business?
Right.
It says it's fake. Because, if I walk down the street right now and I hit somebody over the head with a sledgehammer, he's either going to be hospitalized or he's going to be in a casket.
Mm-hmm.
So, make it mean something. I watched old tapes of pro wrestling from Georgia. I just remember watching a tape of Randy Savage putting Ricky Morton through a table. And that crowd, you would have thought that Ricky Morton was dead. That crowd believed that Ricky Morton was seriously injured. I watched some old matches just recently while I was doing my cardio. It was one of the Clash of Champions. It was Flair, I think, versus Sting, and Terry Funk came in and beat the hell out of Flair, and Power drove him on the floor, and Flair was gone. Flair was gone for a month after that. And then he came back, and what did he do? Drew money. Drew money with Terry Funk. It's all about drawing money, and that's one of the things that Al Snow always taught us, to draw money. And that's, I'm sure it's all over the Internet, and it's been on the Internet. I had injured myself in OVW. I had ruptured my upper right and upper left abdominal muscles, And 3 days after I had come back, I did a match in front of the office, and one of the agents was Ted Dibiase.
Mm-hmm.
And after my match, Ted Dibiase cut this huge promo about how bad the Ultimate Warrior sucked and how he was not a superstar and he would have never been nothing without guys like him, and that I need to find a new hero. Even though the WWE was telling me to wrestle like Mad Dog Buzz Sawyer and cut warrior-type promos when I was yelling and screaming. And he just went off on me in front of the boys, and I was not trying to disrespect Ted Dibiase in any way. I simply looked at Ted Dibiase and said, well, the Ultimate Warrior still drew money, didn't he? And that Monday morning, I was released.
Do you think he was letting his personal, maybe personal vendetta or personal feelings towards the Ultimate Warrior, get in the way of what he was there to do?
I don't know. I don't know what that was all about. And I tried to talk to some people about it, and that could have been the feeling. I don't know, but he really. It almost made me feel like he was taking out his anger about the Warrior on me, and I was basically trying to reinvent something that I thought could draw money in the future. And I was having a blast with the gimmick, and I was having a lot of fun. And at that time, I would have done anything the WWE told me to do, and I was basically doing what I thought they wanted me to do. And rather that, I just think the whole situation wasn't handled really well, and I'm not having any sour grapes about the situation, because anybody that can make money for the WWE, hopefully the WWE will embrace. But I just kind of shook my head and was like, what's this all about? Why is he saying this right here in front of all the boys? And I thought the Ultimate Warrior drew money, so I was simply asking the man a question.
Mm-hmm.
If he was so bad, if he was so terrible, if he was so awful,
why did they
didn't he draw a ton of money for the company?
Yeah, it was one of the biggest, WrestleManias of all time, him versus Hogan.
Absolutely. But at that time, the Warrior video had just come out, and it was. I think the Warrior was kind of a dirty word back then.
Mm-hmm.
Probably still is today, because he still for some reason doesn't get a whole lot of respect in the wrestling world. But you know what, the man went to the bank, like him or not.
Do you think if we'll never know. I would say, do you think if Warrior would have came back for that DVD, it would have been a completely different DVD, and WWE would talk more fondly about the Ultimate Warrior today?
Probably. I think that that's a school of thought that possibly could happen. Yeah, if the Warrior would have cooperated with the WWE, then maybe the WWE may have made more money on that video. But the Warrior, again, he's a businessman.
Mm-hmm.
He's a businessman, and he doesn't want to give it away for free, and that's the bottom line. And I think nowadays there are too many guys out there that are willing to give it away for free.
Mm-hmm.
There are too many guys on the indie circuit that are willing to do it for free. And, no matter what guys say about, I'm doing it because I love the business, bottom line is, brother, I got to have steak in my freezer. I got to have, all white meat chicken in my freezer, baby. And the bottom line to do that is to make money. So why am I going to bust up my body for somebody if they're not going to pay me, if they're not going to compensate me for it?
Definitely. We got a caller here on the line. Who is this?
Hey, it's Bob. How you doing, Jack?
Good, thanks.
What's up, buddy? Dean, first of all, it's great talking with you. What part of Pittsburgh? I'm from Pittsburgh also. What part of Pittsburgh are you from?
Bethel Park.
Okay, I'm from the Oakland area, Shady Side.
Okay, yeah, man. The original, baby. Yeah.
Yeah, I hear you.
Yeah.
I hear you. Well, you were talking about the Ultimate Warrior. Absolutely. You were talking about the Ultimate Warrior, and I think if he'd have done, just agreeing with you, if he'd have done what Bret Hart had done, as far as collapsing, to the pressure that Vince put on him, they would have brought out an entire different DVD. And even though he kept his poise and he has his morals, you see what's going on with him now. He's back in. He's going to wrestle a match with Orlando Jordan
Yeah, in Germany.
Is it in Germany?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I believe it's in Germany. Yeah.
Is that what it is? Yeah, but I'm saying, so, and the internet's all abuzz about it again, and so obviously, I mean, the kind of money that he draws, he still is I mean, his name alone just brings people, to the forefront.
Absolutely, and there's a reason for that. It's not because he's the man of 1,001 holds. It's because when he runs out, from the minute he runs out of that locker room to the minute he runs back, those people will be on their feet. It does not matter what he does from the time the bell rings to the time the bell rings. Whatever happens in between there, the fans do not care. All they care about is whatever the storyline is, whatever the gimmick is that they're trying to get over, is that they get it over. It doesn't have to look pretty. He doesn't have to be the best worker to make money. You don't have to be the best worker to make money in this business. And again, I'm not trying to insult guys like Fit Finley and Dean Malenko and all the other great workers out there. They're great workers, and they're great teachers, and they're great people, and they were always very, very good to me. But are you going to be able to sell tickets on a main event in WrestleMania of Fit Finley versus Dean Malenko? Probably not.
Right. Yeah, the bottom line is to put asses in the seats, like you said, and I think,
Absolutely.
Absolutely. I think the WWE obviously missed the boat on you because, with your style and with your gimmick, I think you could draw mega dollars. I absolutely think that they missed the boat on you, without question.
And I appreciate that. I appreciate you saying that. And I was living, eating, breathing, and sleeping that gimmick. And anybody who knows me knows that that's what I did. And I had a lot of great thoughts and a lot of big plans for that gimmick, and was getting a lot of good reports for that gimmick. But like I said, something mysteriously happened from the time I had rehabbed my injury and the time I came back and did that match and got released. Something went awry. I don't know. I'll probably never know. But hey, it's my time to decide now. What do? Do I move on with professional wrestling and give it another shot, or do I move on with other things in my life?
Before that happened, did anybody from the WWE ever come to you and tell you, you have to work on this, you have to work on that, you're not doing this right, or anything like that?
Well, it's no lie, and I'll even admit it to myself. I'm not the best worker in the ring. I'm, definitely not, a technician in there. But, I was indeed being told that, I was training hard and I was doing what I needed to do and I was improving. And, I was working with, guys like, Bobby Lashley and Kenny Dykstra, Ken Doane. I was working with a lot of great guys that were helping me along in this business. Paul Heyman, helped me out considerably with the gimmick and embracing my promos and embracing the character. And I would have really liked to have spent more time with Al and getting in the ring. I almost felt like when I went down to OVW, I actually got at one point a little bit worse as a wrestler because I wasn't really getting the opportunities to wrestle the matches that I wanted to wrestle to develop my in-ring skills and develop my in-ring abilities. And, who knows what may have happened if, things would have went the other way and I would not have gotten released and would have spent more time in OVW training. I do feel that my in-ring skills would have gotten better, and with that character, I think that we could have created something new, something different. I mean, because like I said, there's no wrestling gimmick out there that is brand new. Everything is a twist or a spin off of something that has already happened, but you take it and you make it your own and you make it new again and you make it exciting again. And, I think that I was really on my way of making something new and exciting again.
Dean, let me ask you this. Have you had any feelers from TNA at all?
I have a lot of good friends in TNA, but no, I haven't even considered TNA. Like I said, the WWE is the major league of professional wrestling right now, and that's the ultimate goal. That's the ultimate place to go to. And, there's something to be said or, go to TNA and get yourself over, and then, then the WWE will recognize that. But, this time around, if the opportunity presented itself, I may consider it. But again, you look at TNA's roster, there's only a very small handful of larger guys that I can work with. Mm-hmm. Not that I can't work with a smaller guy, but, it's not going to be believable if, Sanjay Dutt gives me a Mexican head scissors. It's just not going to work.
Did you have anything else, Sir Bob?
Yeah, just real quick if I can, Jack, real quick. Okay, thank you. You had mentioned, Dean, about Larry Zbyszko, and of course, being from Pittsburgh, San Martino, Zbyszko, they're synonymous with what we grew up with, not you necessarily because you're younger. But you had mentioned about Larry Zbyszko and the way he worked, and he worked smart. Even though if you look at some of his matches, especially on the AWA Classics, he took a lot of horrific bumps. But I think, he put his body on the line a lot of times. I guess he just knew how to be the old school, but still knew how to, protect himself. Is that something that's hard in this business?
If you look at the bumps that Zbyszko took, every one of those bumps meant something, and it led up to him getting more heat and putting the babyface over. And I think that's, again, the problem with this business right now. There's too many damn shades of gray. There's too many shades of gray. People love good versus evil. And every crazy bump that Zbyszko took, I like to call those types of bumps pure bumps because they were wrestling bumps. They were bumps that meant something. They were bumps that, happened in the ring. They weren't, sledgehammers over the head. They weren't going through tables. They weren't getting hit in the head with a chair 1,000 times or getting hit in the back with a Louisville Slugger. They were pure wrestling bumps that led up to something, that meant something. And every crazy bump Zbyszko took, I guarantee you, he drew money because of those bumps he took.
It's true. Well, let me say this, Dean. Whatever you decide to do, whether you continue your career or go back into nursing, best of luck to you, and it was a privilege talking with you.
Thank you, my friend. I appreciate that.
Thanks for calling, man.
Thank you. Take care, guys.
Yeah.
Bye. Go Steelers, baby.
Well, when WWE let you go, did you feel like the door was still open for you? Did they say they might bring you back at some point?
Quite honestly, I don't know. I talked to Tommy Dreamer that day, and Tommy Dreamer is a hell of a human being, and he basically told me, hey, in this business you get fired. He told me that day that, you know what, I was fired 4 different times. So I think in professional wrestling, the door is always open. And, whether you have heat or whatever, maybe I might have to take a few hard bumps for the people that I pissed off. If I pissed you off, I'm sorry. I didn't mean to piss you off. But, I think the door is always open to some extent if, again, you can put asses in those seats and that you can make money.
Mm-hmm. So, what are your feelings on OVW being cut from WWE?
I think it was a big mistake. I think it was a huge mistake because OVW was a prime training ground. I don't know, what it's like in Florida. Florida, has been, historically a fantastic, state for professional wrestling. But in OVW, you had it all. I mean, we had, a great trainer in Danny Davis. We had magnificent facilities. It was a small group. From what I understand, they got 60 guys in Florida right now. Mm-hmm. We had a small group, and we could learn, and we could be taught. And on top of that, we had a great loop that we could run. We, practiced Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and then we were on the road, doing house shows Friday, Saturday, Sunday. Sometimes we had house shows on Thursday nights up in Indiana. So we had a great house show loop that we could run and get practice in front of the people doing house shows. I don't know how many house shows they're running in Florida. We had TV in OVW that was over like crazy. We had to turn people away from the door. We actually filled the building to the capacity where the fire inspector said, you can't put any more people in here, we actually had to turn people away and say, sorry, we can't let you in tonight. Mm-hmm. So OVW was already established. Their TV was established. Their stars were becoming established. I don't understand the WWE's train of thought in releasing OVW. If I was a gambling man, I would probably say OVW will probably have another relationship again with WWE as developmental territory. If not, WWE will probably try and open another developmental territory somewhere else, and that may not be so successful. And again, we'll go back to OVW because OVW is a great place.
Mm. Would you have any guess of why they split with OVW? To think it was like what would be the reasoning for it? There's like so many guys that it's in WWE right now. Came through OVW.
Yeah, man, a lot of great guys. I mean, I don't know why they want to close the history books on OVW being such a, we talk about the territories being gone and forgotten.
Mm-hmm.
Holy crap, Obi! If you've ever been to Louisville, Kentucky, let me tell you something, brother. The territories are alive and well in Louisville. Those guys in OVW are stars, and the guys that are working there now, even though they don't have the WWE deal, those guys are still stars. Their TV is still over. OVW is still one of the only territories here in the United States right now. And to guess why, I don't know, man. And, it really makes me angry when I hear bad things about OVW, when I hear people say stuff like, oh, those guys in OVW, there's steroids in the water down there, brother. That's all BS, man. Those guys down there busted their ass. When I was down there, man, nobody mentioned anything about no steroids or no drugs or nothing. We were all training our asses off at the Louisville Athletic Club, baby. I trained with guys like Idol Stevens, Shelly Martinez. I trained with all those OVW guys, and after our wrestling practice, we ate like Vikings, and we went to the gym, and we trained hard, and we ate big, and that's why we got big muscles, because we busted our asses, not because of any bullshit steroids or anything like that. So I don't know, man. I don't know why they got rid of OVW. I think it's a big mistake, though.
You talked about like the wellness policy, and did any of that ever come up? Like when you were down there, did they test you guys when you were in OVW?
Absolutely, man. The wellness policy was no joke. We knew it was there. We had several meetings with the office. We were told that this was going to happen. We were told that, there wasn't going to be any bullshit and that the wellness policy was going to be enforced, and we all knew it. And, as far as I know and as far as I'm concerned, everybody towed the line, man, and, did it the right way. And so, I mean, the wellness policy was alive and well in OVW.
Oh, what guys down there would you say were, like, the best that, like, do you think would have, like, a real passion in, trying to help out the young guys, to get to the WWE? Like, was it Al Snow or Hugh Morris?
Oh, yeah, man. Al Snow has a awesome passion for the business. Al Snow lives, eats, and breathes the business, but he not only eats, lives, breathes, and sleeps the business for himself,
mm-hmm.
he does it for the boys, too, man. And, he was, one guy who, I had many, many one-on-one conversations with Al, about things, and Al, I think, really legitimately, truly wanted to make success stories out of all of us.
I actually read somewhere that there was talks of bringing you up to WWE with the Warlord as like a tag team.
Yeah.
Was there any truth to that?
Yeah, from what I understood, yeah, it was gonna. He and I were going to be a tag team, and that was around the time, very, very shortly after I heard that they were considering that. I had actually done. I didn't get a chance to do a dark match or anything, but I was there for, I think, one of the Monday Night Raws and was working out in the ring, and something was mentioned to me about that, and yeah, man, I was all for it. And like I said, at that time, I was just coming back from an injury. I mean, I was in the hospital for 3 days, and I couldn't get out of bed for 3 weeks, and I rehabbed and built my body back up to pretty much the way it was. And like I said, very shortly after the office had come down, I believe it was a Tuesday or Wednesday when they had come down, and very shortly thereafter that I was released. I don't know if it had anything also to do with maybe the Warlord wasn't interested at that time in coming back to the WWE. Mm-hmm. I don't know. I guess we'll never know. I'm sure there's people in the office that do know the true story, but I don't know.
Do you know what that would have been? Would have been like he was your mentor, or do you know any storyline how the tag team would have worked? Would have been like a modern day.
Oh man, it would have been two big jacked up guys going out there and beating the hell out of people, and me cutting crazy promos, and the Warlord standing in the background making those crazy faces with those crazy eyes and being jacked up like he always was.
It would have been. We met him last year at the Fan Fest in Charlotte.
Yeah. Yeah, man, it would have been awesome, man.
Yeah.
We could have done, we could have done so many crazy things. We would have been over $1 million.
Mm-hmm. Was there ever any other gimmicks that they came to you, they thought about using you, bringing you up with some type of gimmick?
The only thing that I really honed in on was with Paul Heyman was the Dean Visk gimmick. That was the gimmick that I had worked with. When I first went down there, my first 3 or 4 months in OVW were basically tag matches with Chet Jablonski. And we had, matching tights with the Polish Falcon on them. And, I honestly had thought that, they were considering, the A Squad, the Jablonski brothers, Chet and Dean Jablonski, which, I think, may have had, some money-making ability. Because Chet Jablonski, great frickin' worker, man. That guy can work like crazy. He has the build, he has the look, and I think we could have done something with that. But yeah, my first few months with OVW was mainly tagging with Chet, and then I just happened to be asked by Paul Heyman to do a promo, and I thought to myself, you know what? This is my opportunity. This is my chance. I'm going to make this promo as over the frickin' top as I possibly can. And, it's his job to pull me back if, he needs to pull me back. But you know what? I'm going to give it 1,010%, and that's what I did, and that's what I kept on doing.
There was no one ever talked to you about bringing in, was it the Spirit Squad or anything like that?
No. There was no talk about that.
Yeah.
I don't know if the cooler would have been the right answer.
Right. What about Japan? Because there have been some guys who were let go, then went to Japan and became like Umaga. He was let go by WWE, went there, he became big name, was brought back, or just guys who went there and made a career out of being a big American guy in Japan. Sure,
and I've been told that a lot of times, many times. Go over to Japan. You're a big guy, big blonde-haired guy. You'll make $1 million in Japan. But, again, I have a college education, and, I can stay here in the States and train and get myself over while making guaranteed money here in the States without having to, leave my home and go on a bus in Japan and, not be able to get the right food and, not that I don't want to pay my dues, but, it's really hard to make that commitment to go over to Japan and reinvent yourself when I still think that, there are still opportunities here in the States where you can do that and not have to go over there and risk being injured. I was scared enough, laying in a hospital bed in Lima, Ohio, and then having to be transported back here to Cincinnati. Can you imagine if you get injured over there in Japan? It's not something at that time that I was interested in, not that I may not consider something like that in the future.
Mm-hmm. Now, when you were first let go, did you were you really depressed at one time because it's you're a lifelong wrestling fan. You spent all this time, in developmental to get to the WWE, and then just all of a sudden you let go.
I don't know if it was quite depression over that. It was more depression over, well, what the hell do I do now? I'm still a young guy. Do I want to go back on the indies? Do I want to, go back to leaving Cincinnati at 6 a.m., driving to Chicago or Michigan for a show, getting my payday, and then coming back to Cincinnati right after I get my payday, 24 hours later, no sleep, and, doing that again? Or do I say, okay, well, I got this college degree, I got this education, let's use that. Do I, go back to school, get my nurse practitioner? What do I do? It was more of, what do I do next, more than a depression, because I knew how the business was. I knew going in that there were no guarantees. I knew that there was a possibility that if I farted the wrong way in front of somebody that I could get heat. I knew that was there. I knew that, the possibility was every time that I went up for TV on Raw or SmackDown, that, if, there was a booger hanging in one of my nose hairs and the wrong person saw it while they were eating, would I have heat with them and then therefore get released? So it was kind of like, I knew it. I knew that, something may eventually happen, but, if I had got another opportunity, brother, I would tell you what, I would do it different. I would do it completely different, and I would do it my way. And I would go out probably again eventually, but it would be on my terms.
Mm-hmm. Something we always like to ask people here, our fans always want to know if you have any good rib stories.
Oh, yeah. I mean, geez, you guys brought up the cooler, and who knows what's inside that cooler.
you think that was that Ralph? Did he sound like anybody you knew? Because that sounded kind of...
I don't know. I couldn't hear. He was kind of muffled, possibly. I don't know. But, yeah, man, Ken Doan, I'll tell you what, that guy, Kenny Dykstra, I guess they call him now, he is going to be the next Ric Flair. That guy can work, man, and he has got charisma, and he has got what it takes. But, yeah, the whole cooler thing, man, when I came into OVW carrying the cooler, all the boys wanted to know what was in the cooler, and, one day I was at practice and got out of the ring and went to go eat one of my meals, and I looked in my cooler, and it was all filled with candy. All my chicken, all my protein drinks, my fork, and my cup that I drank water out was all gone. And I'm like, oh, shit. Well, first I'm freaking out because, I'm, trying to go up to Raw or SmackDown, so I got to, force feed a chicken breast till I almost dry heave so that I can maintain my physique. And I got a cooler full of candy here now, and I just see Ken Doan just laughing his ass off, and he points up to the ceiling. All my protein drinks, all my food are up in the rafters. I don't know how that athletic MFer got my stuff up there, but he did. And probably to this day in Davis Arena, my Metrec shakes, my chicken breasts are probably still hanging on the roof somewhere.
Right. Well, we've heard some bad, ribs, and I'll just say it. I'm glad they replaced, the chicken and everything with candy instead of anything.
Yeah, man, that was a good time, man. It was a really great group of guys, man. It was magic. I mean, OVW TV back then, I haven't, had a whole lot of chance to watch OVW here lately, but back then, man, we were over. We, had that Johnny Jeter Capitelli storyline. Me and Doan, and Bolin Services, had our heat, with Bobby Lashley in the storyline, and it was just, it was great, man. It was magical stuff.
Mm-hmm. Were you there when they brought up the Basham's, they became the Basham brothers?
No, that was before my time. I actually, Doug Basham, though, actually came there, from what I understand, on his own dime, and he was working there for a while, trying to reinvent himself, but no, I did get a chance to kind of see the Bashams evolve into what they were in WWE when I was still in HWA, because the HWA and OVW used to kind of run shows together and swap talent, and the HWA, when they were under developmental, we used to actually do our TV in Jeffersonville, Indiana, at the old OVW Davis Arena.
Mm-hmm. Who were some of the guys you traveled with? Was it like Kenny and a lot of the guys you mentioned?
Ken Doan, Chet the Jet, Paul Burchill, Deuce and Domino, Ken Anderson, Ken Kennedy. Man, gas money was tight, brother. So, basically, I just tried to get a ride with whoever I could, and have anybody who wanted to ride with me. And like I said, man, we were a brotherhood. We would all, help each other out and ride together. And, there was no backstabbing. There was no heat between the boys. When I was down there in OVW, it was just a great, magical place. When I was down there, it was, I can't say enough good about it. You had guys like the Highlanders, Roy McAllister and Robbie McAllister. I mean, there's two guys, man, that have it. Those two guys, when they were in OVW, they were over. That is such an awesome gimmick.
Yeah,
People
I think they were really over when they first came into on Raw.
Exactly, and they should still be over, and they are still over. But you know what? What are the writers doing with those guys, man? Holy hell! You got a gold mine there. You got a pure tag team. You have, Rory and Robbie McAllister, the Highlanders, man. It doesn't get any better than that. I just don't understand what they're doing. They need to bring in now another pure tag team. I don't know what's up with this whole, you got, Johnny Morrison and The Miz, tag team champions. They don't even freaking come out together as a tag team. How are you going to be a team if you never come out together as a tag team? They come out to separate music.
Right.
Let's develop some pure tag teams and bring back tag team wrestling, and there you go. There's a main event of WrestleMania right there. A pure tag team, the Highlanders, mean, dirty, nasty, SOB Highlanders versus a great babyface tag team. There's money right there.
There you
go. There you go, WWE. I'll give you that one for free.
Did you hear what happened with one of the Highlanders at the at TNA recently?
Yeah, and I have some pretty strong feelings about that, and I hope I don't offend anybody. But how do you take a guy like Robbie McAllister, who wanted to go to a TNA show to support some of his old buddies that he knew on the indie circuit, check out a show, but yet Rey Mysterio and a couple of the other WWE guys go to a TNA show and they get no heat. So how does Robbie McAllister get sent home for going to a TNA show, and you got other WWE guys doing it and it's okay? Well, what's going on there? I mean, I even read on the internet somewhere, I don't know if it's true, that John Laurinaitis was talking to Jeff Jarrett at, an Applebee's or some shit. So what's going on there, man? I don't know.
Do you think it was bad at TNA to put him on TV?
Yeah, I think that was wrong. I think that was definitely disrespectful, knowing that he could, possibly get heat or worse, lose his job. I don't know what the cameraman at TNA was thinking, or what the producer or whoever.
Because they even put a graphic with his name on there, so it wasn't.
Yeah, whoever made that decision to do that, tisk, shame on you, and karma's a hell of a thing.
Well, we really appreciate you coming on tonight.
Hey, no problem, brother. I enjoyed myself.
Yeah, we'll be back sometime. Anything you want to tell everybody out there before I let you go?
Nah, man, just, anybody who is, seeing the cooler and supports the cooler, man, keep doing it, because you never know where you might see him again.
Excellent. Keep you here for a second?
Absolutely.
Hey, this is the Animal, one half of the world famous tag team, the Road Warriors. If you want to listen to the greatest online action, listen to InYourHeadOnline.com. Don't miss it.